Shabbat shalom, everybody. So, first of all, can you hear me? Could somebody put a yes in the chat if you can hear me? Right. Okay, I'm just waiting for somebody to put a yes in the chat. Oh, yes, Deborah, well done. Thanks. Shalom, everybody. Thank you so much. There's a bit of a time lag from my computer, which doesn't have brilliant Wi-Fi. So that's why I wasn't quite sure. It took a moment. Thank you. So according to my clock, it's 7:30. And I think we'll begin with lighting the candles. Who I can see so far is, welcome to Mara, Maya, Sandra number 1, I'm Sandra number 2, Deborah, Michelle from Norfolk, that's lovely, Sarah, Isaac, oh, everybody's saying yes now, yeah, Sybil, Tina and Neil, lovely. And there might be people on other channels. Okay, so we are on page, we're going to be on page 79. And I'm going to start with the candles. And the first thing I've noticed is that I need to go to the optician because I literally cannot read that first teeny tiny line of Hebrew. So let's skip it. I will make you a light to the nations, that my salvation may reach to the ends of the earth. As these candles remind us of past generations of our people who have sought to live up to that ideal, so may we, in our day, strive to be a source of light to those about us. Oh, broke a match. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlek ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Now, I hope you won't mind if I move the candles now, because our house wasn't designed for live broadcasting Shabbat services, to make sure the estate agent knows that if we come to sell. And these candles are right in front of the computer screen. So I need to move them out of the way, and I need to put my prayer book in position instead. And then I can sit down. Okay, that's better. So now for something completely different. I want to introduce a Yiddish Shabbat song to you, because we just read something about light there, and there is a lovely song. Now, for those who don't know what Yiddish is, Hebrew is the language of the Bible that the Torah was written in, and modern Hebrew is the language of Israel. But around the year 1000, for reasons maybe lost in history, a lot of Jews settled in Western Europe, kind of France and Germany, that kind of the western part of Europe. And their Hebrew, which by then was already mixed with Aramaic from living in Babylon, then became mixed with German. And that gave rise to the kind of original Yiddish that was spoken. And then perhaps around the year 1000, and then around the year 1500, the center of Jewish learning kind of switched to Eastern Europe because of anti-Semitism in Western Europe, kind of Poland and so on. And then lots of Russian entered the Yiddish language as well subsequently. So it's like it was like a language spoken amongst Jewish communities, some religious and some secular. Interestingly, this is actually a secular, it's actually a post-war, a more modern Yiddish song. And it's secular, but it's nevertheless about the beauty of Shabbat. And I hope I'm going to be able to put the words on the screen for you to see. Okay, because the words are beautiful. Okay, there may be a bit of a time lag because of how long everything takes from my computer, but the words will appear. And so you will see the words, and it's just about the happiness of Shabbat and the fact that people are together and singing and enjoying the sun going down and the light of lighting the candles. And from time to time, I'm just going to be using my recorder to get a good note to start on, so I don't start too high or too low. So I'm going to sing you this song. Great. Grüß mit Gesang, wenn die Sonne vergeht, spricht sich unser Lobgesang über weit und breit. Singt, singt, alle zusammen, alle, klein und groß, bringt mit Freude und Lieder Licht in unser Haus. Spricht ein warmen Fliegerläus in dem Abendwind, weißer Licht in unser Haus, wenn der Tag verschwindet. Singt, singt, alle zusammen, alle, klein und groß, bringt mit Friede und Lieder Licht in unser Haus. Lass mir in Mischbuche sein, Shalom in der Welt. Dort im hellen Sonnenschein, dort wo keiner fällt. Singt, singt, alle zusammen, alle, klein und groß, bringt mit Friede und Lieder Licht in unser Haus. I hope you had a chance to look at the words in English there. Greet them with singing when the sun goes down. Our song of praise spreads far and wide. Sing, sing all together, little and big. Bring with joy and songs light into our house. Spread out your warm wings in the evening wind. White candles in our house when day disappears. Let's be united as one family with peace in the world. There in the bright sunshine, where no one is left out. Sing, sing, all together. So, now we will continue at the bottom of page 79. Eternal God, your glory fills the universe. We are never beyond the touch of your hand. Yet we are grateful for special times and places which help us in company with others to reach out to you. Here at this hour, let us feel your nearness. Grant that we may hear your voice speaking in our hearts, as in the stillness of Sabbath peace, we turn to you. So now we're going to turn the page, and this is one you can join in at home because it's in English and to a familiar tune. And I'm just going to start off a few notes on the recorder to get us into the right key, and then I will sing. The sun on the treetops no longer is seen. Come gather to welcome the Sabbath, our Queen. Behold her descending, the holy, the blessed, and with her the angels of peace and of rest. Draw near and here abide, draw near, O Sabbath bride. Peace also to you, you angels of peace. We've welcomed the Sabbath with song and with prayer, and home we'll return our heart's gladness to share. The table is set there, the candles are glowing, the food is prepared, the wine will be flowing. O day of blessing, day of rest, O day of peace, forever blessed, bring peace to us all, O angels of peace. And now we'll read Psalm 98, and please join in with me at home. Sing a new song to the Eternal One, who has done wonderful things. You have made known your saving power, your righteousness to the nations. You remember your love and faithfulness for Israel. All the ends of the earth have seen your saving power. Shout for joy to the Eternal One, all the earth. Break forth, sing aloud, sing praise with the harp and the sound of melody. Let trumpet blast and horn resound before the sovereign God. Let the sea roar and all that fills it, the world and all who dwell in it. Let the rivers clap hands. Let the mountains join in joyful song before the eternal God who comes to rule the earth, to rule the world with justice and the peoples with righteousness. So, and now we're going to sing Lecha Dodi to the Italian tune, which lots of you know. Let me give myself a note. Lecha Dodi lekrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi lekrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shama v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishme'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shamo echad, L'shemo tiferet v'letila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lecha v'nelcha, ki makor habracha, me'rosh me'kedem nasucha. Sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat לקבלה, לחצותי לקראת כלה, פני שבת לקבלה. התעוררי, כברת קומי אורי, שתברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נקלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלו, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, לחת אותי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לחת אותי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Now we're going to turn to page 92. And I'm just going to have a sip of drink because I was getting croaky. And I'm going to give myself a note for the Baruch Hu, and you can stand up if you like. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai, Amevorach. Baruch Amevorach, 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 Leolam Vaed. Sorry, I made a mistake with the words there. So, we are at the top of page 93. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, v'chokhma potech sha'arim, uvitbuna mesane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umesader et hakochavim, b'mishmarotechem, yirkia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uven layla, Adonai tzavaot shemo, Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Let's read Ahavat in English for a change. Unending love have you shown your people, the house of Israel. Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts have you taught us. When we lie down and when we rise up, we will reflect on the meaning of your laws and rejoice in the words of your Torah and in your mitzvot forever. On them we will meditate day and night, for they are our life and the length of our days. May your love never depart from us. We praise you, O God. You love your people, Israel. I'm going to turn on to page 94. And you may stand if you wish, or you may stay seated if you wish, and I'm going to stay seated. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Eternal One is our God. The Eternal God is one. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך. וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. All this we hold to be true and sure. You alone, eternal one, are our God, and we are Israel, your people. You have freed us from oppressors and delivered us from tyrants. You led us out of Egypt forever to serve you in freedom. When we witnessed your power, we praised your name and gave thanks. Willingly, we accepted your rule. Then, full of joy, we sang this together. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. We're on the top of page 96. And it has been said, the Eternal One has delivered Jacob and redeemed us from the hand of one stronger than ourselves. We praise you, O God, Redeemer of Israel. Let's read together in English. Grant, Eternal God, that we may lie down in peace, and let us rise up to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your wise counsel, and for your name's sake be our help. Shield us from sickness and war, from famine and distress, and keep us from wrongdoing. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you are our guardian and deliverer, a gracious and merciful God. Guard our going out and our coming in, that now and always we may have life and peace. We praise you, O God. May your sheltering peace descend on us and all who dwell on earth. And now it's the Amidah on page 97. And I'm going to stand up. Okay, I've just realised that I'm muted and I have no idea how long I've been muted for. I'm going to have to stop and look at the chat and see what you're all saying to me about this, because at the beginning I asked if you could hear me and you said yes. Okay, folks, I don't know how long I've been muted for, because at the beginning you said you could hear me, and I don't know what I've done. I think I may have accidentally touched. You weren't muted. Oh, it's only since you stood up. 2 minutes. Oh, right. Okay. Phew. Thank you. I must have accidentally touched the mouse. I'm going to sit down again so I don't do it. It's the Amidah, it's the standing prayer, but I'm sitting down. Thank you, folks, for the help and support here. It's quite challenging doing this. I'm going to start the Amidah again, page 97. Adonai Sefatai Tiftachu V'Yagid Tehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol, v'Socher Chasdei Avot v'Imachot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lama'an Shemo Ba'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magein, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magein Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Machayei Meitim, Atah Rav Lahoshia. Mashiv Haruach U'Morid HaGeshem, Masriach HaShemesh U'Morid Hatal. Mechalkel Chayim B'Chesed, Machayei Meitim B'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Makayem Emunato, Lishenei Akar, Michamo Chabal Gevurot, U'Midam Melech Meimet U'Machayeh, U'Matzmiach Yeshua. V'ne'eman atah l'hachayot meitim, Baruch atah Adonai, Machayei hameitim. Kadosh atah v'nora shemecha, v'ein lanu Eloha mibaladecha. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. If you were standing, you may sit. We thank you, O God, for this Sabbath day, which calls us to a closer communion with you. Though you are near to us at all times, you reveal your presence most clearly when we direct our thoughts to you in worship and meditation. In you, O God, our humanity is exalted. You are our life. From you come its greatness, its power, its beauty. Establish in us, we humbly pray, a devotion to you that shall be firm in all the circumstances of life. May this service renew in our hearts the sense of your presence and bring us peace. Lovely how many times peace is mentioned in the service, whether in Hebrew, shalom, or in English, peace. So now I'm going to attempt to sing the Shamru, and starting note, as so often, is going to be a C. V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים Adonai, et hashamayim et haaretz, uvayom hashvi, Shabbat v'yenafash. So let's turn over onto page 100. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu, ritzei b'mnuchatenu, katshenu b'mitzvotecha, v'tein chalkenu b'toratecha, sab'enu mituvecha, v'samchenu b'shuatecha, tachelibenu la'ovdecha b'emet, chanchilenu Adonai Eloheinu, v'ahava uvratzon Shabbat kodshecha, yanuhu va Yisrael mikadshei shemecha, Baruch Ata Adonai, Makadesh HaShabbat. Eternal God, be gracious to your people Israel, and in your love accept their prayers. May our worship now and always be acceptable in your sight. We praise you, O God, whom alone we worship in reverence. We give thanks that you, Eternal One, are our God, as you are the God of our ancestors. You are the rock of our life, the power that shields us in every age. We thank and praise you for our lives, which are in your hands, for our souls, which are in your keeping, for the signs of your presence we encounter every day, and for your wondrous gifts at all times, morning, noon, and night. We praise you, O God, source of goodness, to whom our thanks are due. And let's sing Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, tasim leolam. V'tov b'necha levarech et amcha Yisrael, v'chol eit v'chol shah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Let's take some moments for silent prayer. Yehayu laratzon imrefi bahegyon lebi lefanecha. Yehayu laratzon imrefi bahegyon lebi lefanecha. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri. Adonai tzuri v'goali. Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri v'goali. Right, going to just move my prayer book out of my line of sight for the moment, because I'm going to share my screen again. Because I'm going to read a poem, and I thought you might like to look at the text as we go along. This is kind of instead of a sermon. So as you know, or you may know, it was Simchat Torah last weekend, which means we have just started again on the annual cycle of reading the Torah, the first 5 books of the Old Testament. And of course, it starts with creation. And Renee talked about the first few lines at Simchat Torah, and the Torah reading tomorrow will be from Bereshit, the book of Genesis, the beginning, and it will either be the creation story or Adam and Eve, I expect, although there's kind of a choice, I don't know. But I'm going to share with you a poem about the creation story, and it was written by an African-American civil rights activist in about 1922 or thereabouts. So it was probably written to be read in a black church in the USA, and I think you might like it. I'm going to move the screen down as I go, which I hope you'll be able to see, but if not, I hope you'll be able to hear. And God stepped out on space, and he looked around and said, I'm lonely, I'll make me a world. And as far as the eye of God could see, darkness covered everything, blacker than 100 midnights, down in a cypress swamp. Then God smiled, and the light broke, and the darkness rolled up on one side, and the light stood shining on the other. And God said, that's good. Then God reached out and took the light in his hands. God rolled the light around in his hands until he made the sun. And he set that sun ablazing in the heavens. And the light that was left from making the sun, God gathered it up in a shining ball and flung it against the darkness, spangling the night with the moon and stars. Then down between the darkness and the light, he hurled the world, and God said, that's good. Then God himself stepped down, and the sun was on his right hand, and the moon was on his left. The stars were clustered about his head, and the earth was under his feet. And God walked, and where he trod, his footsteps hollowed the valleys out and bulged the mountains up. Then he stopped and looked and saw that the earth was hot and barren. So God stepped over to the edge of the world, and he spat out the 7 seas, batted his eyes, and the lightnings flashed. He clapped his hands, and the thunders rolled, and the waters above the earth came down. The cooling waters came down. Then the green grass sprouted, and the little red flowers blossomed. The pine tree pointed his finger to the sky, and the oak spread out his arms. The lakes cuddled down in the hollows of the ground. The rivers ran down to the sea. And God smiled again, and the rainbow appeared and curled itself around his shoulder. Then God raised his arm, and he waved his hand over the sea and over the land, and he said, bring forth, bring forth. Sorry. Apologies. And quicker than God could drop his hand, fishes and fowls and beasts and birds swam the rivers and the seas, roamed the forests and the woods, and split the air with their wings. And God said, that's good. I'm going to have a sip. Then God walked around, and God looked around on all that he had made. He looked at his sun, and he looked at his moon, and he looked at his little stars. He looked on the world with all its living things. And God said, I'm lonely still. Then God sat down on the side of a hill where he could think. By a deep, wide river he sat down, with his head in his hands. God thought and thought till he thought, I'll make me a man. Up from the bed of the river God scooped the clay, and by the bank of the river he kneeled him down. And there the great God Almighty, who lit the sun and fixed it in the sky, who flung the stars to the most far corner of the night, who rounded the earth in the middle of his hand, this great God, like a mammy bending over her baby, kneeled down in the dust, toiling over a lump of clay, till he shaped it in his own image. Then into it he blew the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Amen. Amen. I hope you enjoyed that poem. We are now moving on to our concluding prayers. I love this poem, somebody said. Cool, this is good. Thank you. Yes, page 521, I think. 520 anyway. Right, prayer book going back into place. Feel free to sound. I'm going to sit still in case I accidentally mute myself again. Let's just make sure I'm not muted. No, good. Aleinu l'shabach l'adon hakol, l'teit gelula l'yotze bereshit, asher samchalkenu l'ched et shemo, v'gor aleinu l'hamlich malchuto, v'anachnu koraim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu noteh shamayim v'yosed haaretz, u'moshav yakaro b'shamayim mima'al, u'shchinatu zo, b'kofei meromim, Hu Eloheinu ein od, emet malkeinu efes ulato, kakato b'torato, Yadata hayom bahashevota elavavecha ki Adonai hu ha-Elohim b'shamayim imal ve'al haaretz mitachat einot. Please join in at home reading page 521. Trusting in you, eternal God, we hope soon to behold the glory of your might, when false gods will vanish from our hearts and idolatry cease forever. Help us to perfect the world by bringing it under your unchallenged rule, when all will invoke your name, relinquish evil, and turn to you alone. May all who dwell on earth come to know that to you every knee must bend and every tongue swear loyalty. Before you let them humble themselves, and to your glorious name let them give honor. Let all submit to your sovereign rule. May that time come soon and last forever. For ultimate sovereignty is yours, and to all eternity you will reign in glory, as it is written, Adonai Yimloch le'olam va'ed. V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shamo echad. Now, I'm going to do try to do what Renee does and pause and have a look and see who's here and who has said anything. So I said hello to a few people at the beginning, but now I can see Philip, Jill, Tina, all of whom love the poem. Leslie, hi Leslie. Jason, I don't know you, but hi. Liz, lovely to see you and hear you. Yeah, I think that's everybody. So that's great. So before we go into the Kaddish, we should do a Misha Berach, a prayer for the sick. My goodness me, how many people are infected at the moment around the globe with COVID-19, and how many people have been months trying to recover from COVID-19. So if ever a Misha Berach was needed, it is now. If you know anybody particular who's not well, you can think of them at this moment. I'm going to mention Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs, the former chief rabbi of the United Synagogue, not our chief rabbi, but very wise and learned man. I sometimes read his weekly Torah commentary for children, which I find is just about my level. He's very intellectual, and I think he did a good job when he used to do Thought for the Day and TV programs. I think he came over well on behalf of the Jewish people in the UK, even if he wouldn't approve of me leading this service due to being a woman. But there we go. Anyway, his office announced yesterday that he has cancer and he is receiving treatment. So we will think of him, we will think of anybody we know, and we will sing Misha Berach, which I didn't think to organise myself to put the words on the screen. You can always hum along. And I'm going to start on a D. Misha Berach Avotenu Makor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Makor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Please now turn to page 522. As we worship before you, O God, we think of those who once shared with us the joys and burdens of life and who are no longer in our midst. The sorrow of bereavement is softened by the bond of love which continues to unite us with our dear ones, and by our cherished memories of them, which we will always carry in our hearts. May all that was good in their lives remain with us as an influence for good. O God, grant consolation to those who are in sorrow and light to those in darkness. Teach us at all times to put our trust in you and to praise your name. And I have on the yacht site list this week, if you're not on the list, you can put somebody else in the chat and I will try to pick it up when I've read these out. I have down Henry Mendelssohn, father of Andrew and grandfather of Zoe. George Tihanyi, father of Maria Rollin and of Peter Tihanyi. And I have down Harry Fisher, the father of Mimi Zadeh, which I guess makes him the grandfather of Chloe. And now, has anybody put anything else? Sorry, I didn't pick up the names that Sarah mentioned for the prayers for the sick. Sarah's colleague, who she sent home from school today and is now in a stroke unit, her name is Sam, so we're thinking of her. Leslie, when we come to the Kaddish, would like to remember her dad, Jerry Mandel, whom I remember Leslie speaking about very many times. So we are now going to say the Kaddish. It's on page 524, and I will do my best to stand up without causing a crisis. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'la'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnasei, v'yithadar v'yitalei v'yitalal shemeit kudashah v'echu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, tamiram be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalom rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. V'asei shalom b'mromav, hu yasei shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol b'nei Adam v'imru amen. You may sit back down on whatever you're sitting on. Now, I don't think I'm required to make any announcements, which is good. We have such, ooh, that's better. We have such exquisitely excellent communications from KLS these days that basically everything is in bulletins and links and so on. So, before Kiddush, I'm going to do a final song, which I've now forgotten what page it's on. It's one that we don't do very often, but it kind of fitted in with the creation theme. Turn around. Sorry about this. Page 647. Page 647. This is a very old traditional Shabbat song, but we don't sing it very often. But if you look at the English, in the middle there, it's got a little bit about creation, a holy God who made all creatures, holy angels, human beings, beasts of the earth, birds of heaven. So I thought it would fit in well. And so I'm just going to give myself a C once again. Yaribon alam ve'almaya, ve'almaya, unto Malka melech malchaya, melech malchaya. O beit gevurtei, Batim chaya, shapir kadama, lahachavaya, yaribon alam ve'almaya, ve'almaya, unto Malka melech malchaya, melech malchaya. Tavachin asadeh safra baransha, safra baransha. Lachen ha-kadisha tivarachon nafsha, tivrachon nafsha. Irim kadishin uvnei enasha. Eva bara v'ofei shemaya. Last chorus. Yariban alam ve'almaya v'almaya. Unto Malka melech malchaya, melech malchaya. Shabbat shalom, folks, and thank you for the thank you, Jill and Norman and Joyce. Hi, Joyce. Lovely that you're there. So we go straight into Kiddush. It's not like Saturday where we go to Zoom for Kiddush. We go straight into Kiddush, and here we go. I hope you've got a glass of something. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen. And message there. Oh, thank you, Mara, Philip. People expressing appreciation. The technology is so unnerving, especially because I'm sitting here talking and I have no idea what you can see and what you can hear. Anyway, I have got a beautiful challah made this morning, so looking forward to eating that. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. So I'm going to break a little bit off of my beautiful challah. There we go. And with that, with a mouthful of challah, oh, Jenny is there as well, saying, look forward to when we can all sing. Definitely. Louisa, lovely to see you. Over and out, folks. See you again soon. Have a nice weekend. Shabbat shalom.